Hi everyone, it's Refresh, and I'm here for a build of a Dominaria sealed deck. I'll be opening these 6 packs, I'll build a deck, I'll let you know what I think as I do it, and let's get started. Pack number 1. We have a Keldon Warcaller, Healing Grace, Llanowar Scout, Cabal Paladin, Academy Drake, Seismic Shift, Voltaic Servant, Eviscerate, Pardic Wanderer, Sapling Migration, Serra Angel, Sorcerer's Wand, Lich's Mastery, Shauna Shisei's Legacy, an Island and a Sapling. We have a Gitu Journey Mage, Invoke the Divine, Vodalian Arcanist, Radiating Lightning, Llanowar Envoy, Windgrace Acolyte, Aether Glider, Rampaging Cyclops, Broken Bond, Maze the Unicorn, Urza's Tomb, Zalfred Void, Josubes Lich Knight, Grund the Lonely King, Mountain and Knight. We have Charge, Arcane Flight, Warlord's Fury, Crozen Druid, Drudge Sentinel, Demonic Vigor, Powerstone Shard, Sheevan Fire, Call the Cavalry, Llanowar Elves, Song of Freyalise, Final Parting, Clifftop Retreat, Grund the Lonely King, and Island and Soldier. Pack 4 gets us a Skirk Prospector, a Sergeant at Arms, a Coldwater Snapper, a Bloodstone Goblin, an Arbor Armament, a Dark Bargain, a Pardic Wanderer, a Rampaging Cyclops, a Divination, a Vicious Offering, a Triumph of Gerard, a Diligent Excavator, a Benelish Marshal, a Slimefoot, a Stowaway, a Forest, and a Sapperling. Pack 5 opens a Fire Elemental, a Charge, an Arcane Flight, Adventurous Impulse, Soul Salvage, Gideon's Reproach, Llanowar Elves, Valid Omnivore, Skittering Surveyor, Academy Drake, Lingering Phantom, On Sarah's Wings, Woodland Cemetery, Raft Capuchin, Ship's Mage, a Swamp and a Sapperling. Pack 6, Sergeant at Arms, Befuddle, Bloodstone Goblin, Feral Abomination, Llanowar Envoy, Jousting Lance, Sapperling Migration, Blink of an Eye, Seismic Shift, Aven's Entry, Memorial Unity, Weight of Memory, Forebear's Blade, Slim Vote of the Rising Deep, Mountain, and Elemental. Alright, let's take a look at each color. Aven's Entry is a decent evasive card, Sergeant at Arms is a decent ground creature, On Sarah's Wings is a way to win the game, Gideon's Reproach is removal, Charge is very limited use, I would only play it in a go-wide deck. Benelish Marshal is pretty good if you're playing white, because it boosts all of your creatures. Triumph of Gerard is okay, it's not great, but it will help with getting creatures through for damage. There's another Sergeant at Arms, Call the Cavalry, again is all in the go wide deck. Another Charge, Mace Unicorn's a decent beater on the ground. Invoke the Divine is good sideboard tech. Serra Angel is great evasive creature. Healing Grace is pretty limited. I would only board it if I had to. White has some good power. It's got removal. It's got some evasive threats with a particularly good one, Serra Angel. A Benelish Marshal teams up well with the go-wide strategy of Call the Cavalry and Sergeant at Arms. And the Mason Unicorn is an okay creature. So is Triumph Gerard. So there are reasons here to consider white, especially when you consider the white splashes of Raft Capuchin or Shauna Shisei's Legacy. Blue has Slim Vote of the Rising Deep, which is pretty much only good if you're playing the ramp deck. Weight of Memory is card draw, I do like it. Blink of an Eye is really good tempo. Befuddle is okay tempo. Academy Drake is evasive, and I like that a lot. Arcane Flight is, I think, limited to very specific circumstances. Diligent Excavator is only going to be played if you just need a creature to hold up the ground, or if you're playing the mill plan, which is very unlikely. Divination is okay card draw. Coldwater Snapper is a way to finish, especially if you can stick it on an Arcane Flight, but even then it's just a decent body to hold the ground for a bit, and so it's something to consider. There's another Arcane Flight. Vodalian Arcanist is particularly good in the spells deck, and only really in the deck, otherwise it's just another creature to hold the ground. It's a little better than Diligent Excavator in that sense. Academy Drake is pretty good. Alright, so we have Academy Drakes, some card draw, some tempo, a decent ground creature, and then some other cards that aren't likely to get played. Maybe the Arcane Flights with the Coldwater Snapper, but even then, I think blue is okay. It's not a color that I am hoping that gets played, but it's not a bad color. It also gets us Raft Capuchin Ship's Mage if we play it with white. Now looking at black, we have Feral Abomination, which isn't that great. Lingering Phantom is much better because it can recur itself from the graveyard. Valid Omnivore is okay if again with recurrence. Soul Salvage is not as useful except if I need it for a specific purpose. Vicious Offering is removal. Dark Bargain is card draw. Final Parting is a library search, and I'm not 100% certain that this is something that I'm looking for really ever. Demonic Vigor is not especially good. Dredge Sentinel can hold the ground for a bit, so it's not a terrible card. Joust of Vesh is the bomb. Windgrace Acolyte is evasive, I like that. Lich's Mastery is kind of a very weird card. It gets you cards whenever you gain life, and so I think it fits best in a deck with some life gain, but I'm not sure that it's something that I would like to play. It does slow down the game a little. I might play it if I absolutely had to, but I don't love it. Eviscerate is removal. Cabal Paladin is okay if you're playing the historic deck, otherwise it's kind of on the weaker side and I don't like it that much. Alright, black's got bombs, it's got removal, it's got an evasive threat, some decent other creatures. Everything besides the bomb of Josu and the removal is mediocre, but that is enough to make me definitely want to consider playing it if I can. Black will also get a Slimefoot the Stowaway, which is a good creature as well. And the Woodland Cemetery helps us play it, or splash it if we needed to. Alright, looking at red, Seismic Shift is not especially good. Bloodstone Goblin is okay. Fire Elemental is not especially good. Rampaging Cyclops is okay. We have more Bloodstone Goblin. Skirk Prospector is not playable. Sheeping Fire is removal, I like that. Warlord's Fury is probably best in a very aggressive deck or in a deck where spells are important. So, I'm not really looking forward to playing that. There's another Rampaging Goblin. Radiant Lightning is a sideboard card against decks that have a lot of X1s, so that's sideboard. Gitu Journey Mage is just okay. Seismic Shift again, not especially good. Keldon Warcaller is a guy for the most part. It's just a regular ground guy. Not that interested in playing that. Red is not great. We have the Shivan Fire, but there's nothing really else in here. It's decent in terms of bodies, and we have a Clifftop Retreat to help splash it if I wanted to, but even then, I'm not sure that what red has, the Shivan Fire, is worth splashing for. So, looking at green, we have the Memorial to Unity, which is kind of card improvement, so it's not bad. It's worth considering. Sapling Migration is good. Llanowar Envoy is a kind of fixing. It's not great. Llanowar Else is really good. Adventurous Impulse is kind of like Memorial to Unity, except with a card, and I'd rather play Memorial to Unity over it. Arbor Armament is sideboard. Grun is a means of winning the game, so I do like Grun. Song of Freylace is a means of winning the game. I do like that as well. There's another Llanowar Elves. Crozon Druid is okay. It does help hold the ground a bit. So we have a second Grun. Broken Bond is sideboard. Llanowar Envoy again. Sapling Migration again. These are all looking really good. Llanowar Scout is not great, but I might consider playing it if I needed to. I'd probably play it after the Envoys. Alright, so green has Ramp. Ramp, which is really good with Sapling Migrations, Song of Freylace, which is really good. Grun the Lonely King is a way to win the game, and then we have ways to fix with Llanowar Envoy and card improvement with Memorial Unity. I like green. It also gets us Slimefoot the Stowaway, maybe Shisei's Shauna's Legacy, Woodland Cemetery, and so it looks like green and white or green and black might be the options. I might even be able to splash in one direction or the other. Looking at our artifacts, Forebear's Blade is almost certainly going to get played just because it's a really good piece of equipment. Jousting Lance is not bad. Skidding Surveyor will let us splash as well, so I do like that. Partic Wanderer is okay. Power Stone Shard is okay. Zophran Void, if I'm playing just two colors, I might play it just to get the Scry. Urza's Tomb is not bad. Aether Glider is if I'm playing some sort of aggressive historic deck. Sorcerer's Wand is only if I'm playing Wizards, Partic Wanderer again, and a Voltaic Servant again. Right now, with the amount of tokens that can be generated between white and green, I'm actually really feeling the white and green combination. Even though there's Josu Vess and some removal in black, and Thallid Omnivore, which may play well with it. So we're going to just remove red and blue altogether. I don't think there's enough in either of these colors, which will remove Wrath Capuchin and Clifftop Retreat from play. And then we're going to look at what we can build with these remaining colors. Like the go wide strategy works really well with both of these colors, but I really have to think about what the splash is going to be. I think green has to be at the center of this, so green is definitely in. I mean, no matter what, all these cards work well with green. So let's go ahead and lay out green, and then we'll look at what we can do with the other colors. We have the Llanowar Elves, which get us to ramping to our Sapling Migrations or Song of Freyalise. Even being able to kick Grunt the Lonely King is great. These will help us fix if we do decide to go deeper into other colors. Llanowar Scout's okay, Crows and Druid's okay. Again, it gets kicked. And then we have these 4 cards. These two are definitely sideboard. Although you could theoretically main deck a Broken Bond. Memorable Unity I'd probably just play because it will help us get a card in the late game. And then we'd hold on to these. Alright, we're going to look at white first because Go Wide seems a little bit stronger even though we have Josephus, which is really good. And these 2 permanent removal cards. But let's look at Go Wide first. Gideon's Reproach is good removal. Sarah Angel's good. On Sarah's Wings is pretty good. Even Sentry's not bad. Benevolent Marshal works really well with the Go Wide plan. Call the Cavalry is a Go Wide. Sergeant at Arms is Go Wide. Mace Unicorn's not a bad on the ground. Triumph Gerard is not especially good, but with one of these big beaters, it might actually be worthwhile considering playing. Charges and Invoke the Divine, I'm not 100% certain on. I do think that Invoke is a pretty good sideboard card that is main deckable, so we'll consider that as well. And then we would also add Shana Shisei's Legacy, probably even Slimefoot, splashing it off the Woodland Cemetery. And this would be a green-white deck. This is 25 cards. I would have to cut a couple cards, but it actually doesn't look that bad. I mean, we have big beaters if we need them. We have many ways of going wide. Alright, now we're going to switch this for black-green and see if that looks any better. Alright, Josephus is also Go Wide. We have Eviscerate, which is an even better removal spell, as well as Vicious Offering, which is a better removal spell. Windgrace Acolyte is pretty good. Valid Omnivore goes well with the Go Wide plan. And then we're hitting a bit of weaker territory here. The Lingering Phantom is not that comparable to the Grunt the Lonely King, so I don't really like it that much. Lich's Mastery, probably not going to get played. Dark Bargain, yeah, I'm not really feeling the black. Aside from Josephus, who is really good, but I don't know that Josephus is really enough to play black. I mean, we could splash for Eviscerate and Vicious Offering, maybe even Valid Omnivore, but all these black symbols will mean that Josephus is definitely not getting played. So let's go back to black-white. We'll figure out some way to make this work. There's Shana, Maze Unicorn, Sergeant at Arms, Benevolent Marshal, Sir Angel, Even Sentry, Triumph of Gerard, Gideon's Reproach, Invoke the Divine, Call the Cavalry, On Sarah's Wings. Probably also play the Forebear's Blade, maybe the Jousting Lance, and also the Skittering Surveyor. And I think the rest of these are probably unneeded for what we're trying to do here. Alright, we have too many cards, we must cut some. 19 creatures, 13 spells, that is 32, so I'd need to cut at least 9 cards from this huge pile of things. Now I like the Skittering Surveyor because we're splashing. We're definitely splashing for Slimefoot, probably not splashing for the Windgrace Acolyte. I don't think it's good enough. I do like Vicious Offering with this deck, and I also do like Eviscerate as removal, as far as removal goes. Forebear's Blade and Jousting Lance goes really well with the Go Wide plan as well, so I don't want to remove those. Valid Omnivore also goes well with the Go Wide plan. Think of everything here. Triumph of Gerard might be one of the weakest spells here because it puts counter on creatures with the greatest power. And it's great if you're already ahead, but I don't know that it's especially useful, aside from the third point where it gets flying, first strike, and lifelink, otherwise. And so I think it might actually be one of the weakest cards here. I do like the ramp that I have, but this may be the weakest with my Go Wide plan. And so I think Triumph will get cut. I feel like Crows and Druid doesn't fit into this plan as well as everything else. There's no actual benefit for Kicker. The 10 life is nice, but I think it's more of a sideboard card. We do have a heavy splash of black. There are 4 cards with at least 1 black symbol in them, so I definitely want the Llanowar Envoys as ways of getting to be able to cast them. I'm not 100% certain on Thalat Omnivore or Llanowar Scout. I think the Scout is bad ramp. It doesn't really do much for us, and I think I'm going to remove that. Our 2 drops are still held pretty well by the Sapling Migration, so I don't feel too bad about that. Then we have 16 creatures and 12 spells, so we still need to cut 5 cards. We can really think of these Sapling Migrations as creatures, as well as called Cavalry. So we have a lot of creatures. I could probably do without one of the Llanowar Envoys, as it plays the least into our plans. I probably also don't need both Invoke the Divine and Broken Bond, or I could put them all on the sideboard and just put them in if I absolutely need them. I mean, most decks are going to have targets for this in Dominaria, and so having one of them is not bad. But do I want the ramp, sorcery, or the life gain? I guess I'd choose life gain. That I can play on my opponent's turn. As much as I like the Valid Omnivore, I think I'm going to cut it because it's another color, and the less of those colors I have, the easier it is to play this deck. So now we're at 17 effective creatures and 8 spells. So I still need to make 2 more cuts. We're down to 3 black spells. Again, I think I can remove the Lanor Envoy because I have a Skittering Surveyor and I think it fits better into our plans. So we'll take out the other Lanor Envoy, and then I think the Forebear's Blade is superior to the Jousting Lance. So let's go ahead and get rid of the Jousting Lance as well. So now we have 16 creatures effectively and 7 spells, and that is what our deck is. We're splashing for 3 black cards, and to fix we have a Skittering Surveyor, we have a Woodland Cemetery, Song of Freyalise, and then we also have, that might be enough for us to get there. So let's go ahead and get some lands. We have 15 white symbols, 3 black symbols, and 11 green symbols, but we kind of actually want the green to be up and running early because of the Llanowar Elves, and so we actually do want to skew it a little bit more towards green. We already have 2 green and 1 black with the Woodland Cemetery and the Memorials to Unity, and so we want to have 15 more cards. Of them, I want 6 of them to be forests, 7 of them to be plains, and 2 of them to be swamps, so that I can have at least 3 swamps for these 3 cards here that are black, and we can have enough plains to make sure that we can get our whites going, but we need to have more forests than anything. We'll have 8 green sources, 7 white sources, 3 black sources, between the 7 plains, 6 forests, 2 swamps, and these 2 lands. I'll be right back with the lands. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plains, 1, 2 swamps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 forests, plus a Memorial Unity and Woodland Cemetery that will take us to 8 green sources, 3 black sources, and 7 white sources. And that is a deck. Let me know what you thought about this deck in the comments below. Should I have played Josu Vess even though the mana would be difficult? Or should I have just gone ahead and played black-green instead? Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Hit subscribe if you'd like to see more such videos. Next up, I'm going to be pitting this deck against its predecessor and seeing which is the better of the two. Until then, this was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.